Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Spinner Rack. I'm here with my boy PD. And today we're going to be talking about a show from Netflix called Lupin. Lupin is a show, it's a mystery thriller that's being streamed on Netflix right now, and it's from France. So, of course, it's dubbed. I know some people don't like dub, but hey, one of the things we do with Spinner Rack is we like to watch shows from different countries, different cultures, just to get a flavor of it. And this show is basically about this guy named Hassan Diop, who was whose father was framed for the theft of a necklace, and he basically hanged himself. So what, 25 years goes by, and now he's coming back to trying to avenge his father's death. So that's the basic premise of it. The main actor is Omar Sy, the actor, the lead actor. He is for some of you who won an Oscar, their version of an Oscar is called the Caesar in France, and he won it for a movie called, and Kevin Hart called, I believe, The Upset, I believe it was, and Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston from what was that show called again? Bryan Cranston.
Breaking Bad?
Breaking Bad, yeah.
Ah,
You know, it's hard for me to see him sometimes, but Breaking Bad it is. So it's a pretty interesting show. I've watched the show, and I'm here with my boy Petey, and he's taking a look at it too. And we are like, yo, I think this is a show that we can definitely recommend to people out there. So let me pass it over to Petey. Petey, what was your thoughts of this show so far? The character, the setup.
well, the first episode of it was kind of, it was tough to get into. Even though it had the basic premise, it wasn't giving us clear jumps for the flashbacks and flash forwards and that sort of thing. But it was interesting as far as it has the main heist in the story, right? It sets up this mystery in him, but it has that main heist in there, which is a cool element. It's a visible thing that you could see, and it's some sort of humor in there also, right? The second episode starts with him in jail, so you're like, everything is falling apart already. But there's a hook to that. So at that point, that's where I kind of got hooked into the show and really liked it. So it has him as a child, it has him in present day, and kind of he's had, I guess it feels like, two loves of his life that we've seen so far. And he also has a son, but it's an interesting story. The hard part of the thing is that this guy is a 6'4", dark-skinned black guy that hasn't been recognized as he goes to these things and plays these different characters. And it's just like, you didn't recognize the dark-skinned guy? He's not just like a guy that blends in. The guy stands out. He's bigger than everybody. It's like having Kevin Garnett walk around, and you don't notice him. But it's a fun series. I will say that.
I think you're hitting on the main point that I have with the series. I think I agree with you. It's a very fun series. He's a very, how can I say, light-hearted type of character. Is loosely based on the books about a gentleman thief named Arsène Lupin. In France, was pretty popular. There's like 23 books of this particular guy who goes on numerous adventures. He's a thief, but he's not like a bad guy. He's a gentleman thief. And but you're right. He is. I mean, we've talked about it before at home. Where like, dude, this dude is huge. Like, who doesn't see this guy? You know, how does the facial recognition? Because now everybody got facial recognition. Don't realize, and as time goes on, you see that somebody does catch on this. But I'm saying I think it should have been caught on much faster.
Yeah.
And as it starts to develop, you see that there are different things going on. What we see in the very first episode, and we'll go into that. Is that there's a theft of a necklace, and this necklace comes to be central to the whole series as to what happened to it, why, and how his father, who was framed for the theft of this necklace, and the family that, or the Pelicani, who were the ones responsible for that, and what happens. But he also has other emotional connections to the Pelicani family, and how that plays out with his own relationships, and how that plays out with what's going on. The other issue that I had was not, again, these are small issues, not big. One that this dude is
Sound
huge.
like big issues. Sound like huge, terrible issues with it.
Yeah, I mean, this the suspension disbelief is like amazing. I mean, like I said, he's a big dude. It's not like somebody can just go in there and change how he looks. Or, I mean, sometimes he, like in the first episode where he's acting as a buyer of the necklace, right?
Mhm.
And then he acts as though he's somebody who works. When you rob from the museum, one of the first things they do is they check all the employees.
Yes.
And no one says he doesn't look any different than what he does an investor. Yeah, probably people say, that's not possible. But he literally doesn't look any more different than the other dudes. You know what I'm trying to say? His attitude is very nice, very similar. It's not just different. And he does change up as the series goes on, but not enough, I think, to outweigh. When you're 6'5" or that tall, there's no way you're going to hide all of that. So it's and another, like I said, the second issue that I really wanted to bring up was the 25 years. I'm like, why did it take 25 years to come back to revenge your father? 25 years? I mean, he was a teenager when
Oh no. What happened?
it went out. It just came back in.
He was a teenager, that's what you say.
A bad connection. So let me see if I can.
I'm still recording.
Years, and he was a teenager when.
Start over that. That's what you're trying to say? Oh, you can go with he's a teenager.
Yeah, so he was a teenager when his father died. So let's say he's a teenager, you're going to be 13, 14, 15, or whatever. Let's just say 13, right? 25 years, that means 38. So it took you to almost 38 years. I mean, till you were almost 38 before you started trying to avenge. Now, if they're saying that he did a series of different jobs to become who he is, that's one thing. I get that. But and they do show what he was doing, some aspects of some of the things he was doing. But I don't know if it was part of a greater plan. But if you have the skills that he had the skills there to pull off, bro, why are you not living well? You know what I'm trying to say?
No, you have to also factor in why he did what he did. When he noticed the necklace, that's what gets his ball rolling to say his father didn't do it. He got the letter where it said the father was, had said that he did it, and that was nothing to it. He was upset with it, he didn't believe it, but he moved on with his life. But when he sees the necklace, that starts the ball rolling.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, that's an interesting point. As you goes into this, you go into the series, you find out he goes to a very good school. That's paid for, very expensive. You also find out that, that's where he meets the mother of his child. You also find out that he was pickpocketing. Like, why is he pickpocketing? If he's he went to a very school and stuff like that. They don't really explain it, and hopefully, probably in a second season, because there is a second season
Why do you
coming.
explain him being a pickpocket?
So you go to think of it. So you go to one of the best high schools around. I assume you go to university. Then you go get a job or start a business, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? Pickpocket is like the lowest level of crime,
But it's stealing. Stealing is sort of
he's addicted to it. He's a klepto.
No, like more in the klepto aspect of saying he has all this pain, and when he get beat up by those guys, he takes the lighter.
Right.
So it's like this sort of getting something over on people, and that's what he's constantly doing. So I mean,
I didn't think of it like that. That's a good point.
I mean, not to say that that's the thing, but I don't think like the basic little bit of stealing, even for rich people who have money, who decide I'm going to do it. So, I don't know. I don't want them to explain something like that, go that far. But anyway, let's keep going.
I really like the point that he brings up. I mean, so when you see at the beginning, you don't see all the issues, the intricacies of his plan. And his plan is far more in-depth. And I think that's one of the things that catch you like, oh, wow, he thought about all these different aspects of it and how to do it and who's going to be blamed and what they're going to be done. And it was pretty interesting going forward. Omar Sy, I did like him, even though I was like, wow, this dude, but you suspend disbelief and you're like, okay, to some degree. But overall, I think it was a good effort. The Gentleman Thief, and how the series ends on a hell of a cliffhanger, bro. So, watch out for that. Um,
You saying it's a hell of a cliffhanger? Okay, then there's only thing that they could do. There's only one thing they can do.
There's only one thing they can do.
But they already showed that he can't be kept in prison. So if they can't keep him in prison, how is, even if the idea is that he goes back to jail, like he won't stay in jail. So
It's not the jail that you're worrying. You're worrying about the bad guys. Jail is always easy. The bad guys are the ones that you have to worry about because they don't care about jail.
yeah.
So that's what plays out later on. But it's like I said, this is a pretty good show. I think it's interesting. I think we just did a review on White Tiger before, and this is going to be another one of our reviews of foreign films from Netflix. Go out and check it out. I give it a big thumbs up. Peter gives it a big thumbs up going forward. It's entertaining. Spinner Rack.
Out.
Thank you. Anything you want to say afterwards?
Oh, about what?